Welcome to Aligned and Abundant, the podcast where authenticity meets practicality, compassion, alignment, and abundance. I'm your host, Christine Marcario, and I help you slow down, become more mindful, improve your mental and emotional health, and live life on your highest timeline. Together, we'll talk strategy, life lessons, and share inspiring stories of people who have overcome obstacles, grown through their pain, and risen above adversity. If you are looking for divine inspiration rooted in love and light, paired with practical tools and encouragement, you're in the right place at the right time. From one heart to another, you are an amazing and divine soul with a purpose. I am so happy that you are here, listening in and joining me on this journey. Today we're diving into something so many of us quietly struggle with: how to get your mind to work for you instead of against you. Have you ever noticed how your brain can be your best friend one minute and your worst critic the next? One moment you're excited about an idea, and in the split next second, you're talking yourself out of it with all the reasons it won't work. I go through this on a daily basis, and let me tell you, it is a struggle. For years, I let my brain run the show. I thought every thought I had was true. If my mind said, "You're not ready," or "This will fail," or "You're not good at this," I believed it. Until I realized my brain is a tool. It isn't me, it isn't my soul, it doesn't represent my deepest desires. If I could learn how to train it, redirect it, and focus it, my whole life could change. I've listened to so many wonderful people that have shared this information with me, and I am truly still in the process of learning how to change my thoughts and create my current reality. We are going to talk about your mind and how to redirect your energy to work in your favor instead of working against you. We're going to hit on 5 powerful ways to master your mind, redirect your energy, and align with the life you really want to create. Your brain likes to have direction. It likes clarity. It likes to have a clear image to hold on to. If you don't give it a project, it will create one for you. And usually that project is picking yourself apart, overthinking every conversation, overanalyzing, or, like me, imagining worst case scenarios. That's my favorite, very sarcastically. But when you give your brain something purposeful to focus on, it channels that same energy toward creation instead of destruction. Remember, our minds create our reality. Whatever we are focusing on is where our energy goes. So if you need to focus on something that you want to call into your life, it's very important that you hone in on a specific, clear image of what it is that you want to call in, or more specifically, the feeling of what that will bring, the feeling of what it is you think you will feel when you have that item or experience. You don't really want the thing, you want the feeling that comes with the thing. So it's super important to get clear on what it is that you want to call in as far as the feeling and the emotion that you want to bring in to your life. My advice to you would be to start some practical and easy things that you can do in the next 30 days. So if 30 days sounds too daunting, try it for 3 days, try it for a week, try it for 21 days. Push yourself to do something different than you would normally do and see what kind of results you can get. For example, commit to a daily walk to clear your mind. I know from experience that when I go for a walk, not only do I feel better emotionally, I also get some of my greatest ideas when I'm out for a walk. I don't know if it's just connecting to nature or just being alone, left to your own devices of your mind, but a walk can really clear your mind. Another thing that you could possibly do is to start a passion project. Maybe one that's been calling on your heart, but you've been avoiding, like this podcast. I had this idea to start a podcast back in the fall of 2022, and I just started it this past spring. So if that passion project is still tugging on your heart, just listen to that whisper and do it. Take that small step. See where it can bring you. I would also suggest possibly learning a new skill or a hobby. I was recently also inspired by someone in my coaching community actually makes the cutest little miniature figures, and I'm talking about like little offices with books the size of my pinky nail, and they're so cute. And that was inspired by an interest that she had, and it became a bigger thing for her than just a little hobby. It's now a business, and it's pretty cool. It's amazing. I'm going to put her Instagram into the show notes in case you want to check it out. One of my favorite things is planning your dream vacation or your next Airbnb spot. I literally just got home from a vacation yesterday, and I was back on Airbnb before my eyes closed for the night because I'm like, ooh, where can I go in the fall? Where can I go next? What can I do in that area? Where can I find the coziest, cutest Airbnb with fall foliage? You see, when you give your brain direction, you're also sending a message to the universe. You are saying, I'm ready. I'm open. I'm creating momentum. That alignment begins to attract the resources that you need, the opportunities that will match your energy, and the support that you need. It's all about being a magnet for what you want. And if you keep staying within the same thought patterns and the same belief cycles, you are not going to change. So that's why I'm suggesting that, again, you commit to one of these intentional projects, whether it's walking, a passion project, a new skill or a hobby, or planning that dream vacation for a certain amount of days. I'm going to suggest 30, but if you're feeling hesitant, start with 3, then move it up to 7, and then commit to 21 days. Whatever is going to move the needle for you. I also want you to look a little bit more deeply and ask yourself, what would it look like to give my brain a meaningful project instead of letting it spiral? Going back to this podcast in general, I wanted to start this podcast for a few years. I was commuting 2 hours a day, and I would fill the time with listening to other people's podcasts, thinking the whole time, I can do that, I can say that, I have things to share, I have things to say. And it only took a matter of truly believing in myself and giving myself permission to do it messy, to do it authentic. Those were things that went against who I have become as a person. I'm the A student. I want the perfect 4.0 GPA when I graduate. And so learning to just get it done and being authentically myself and being open to people coming along with me on a journey of self-discovery and growth is what gave me the courage to record my first 3 episodes. And so I hope that you can find the courage to go out there and do what it is that will make you happy and what will bring meaning into your life. And I am still learning in this container as to how I can now use my podcast as a platform to bring momentum into my life coaching business. And eventually I'm going to also expand into group coaching. So it is all about how I can grow and how you can grow and how we can be cheerleaders for each other on the sidelines as we continue to grow. And I want to just plug in, if you are looking for a deeper connection with me, then I highly suggest that you find my Facebook group. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's called Aligned and Abundant, the Soul Shine Collective, and I would love to have you there so we can witness each other's steps forward. Next, I want to let you know that our brains are really truly a beautiful gift. However, they can sometimes work against us. Our brains come with a built-in negativity bias. That's a mouthful.
It's a survival mechanism. It helped our ancestors avoid danger. But in our modern lives, it often means we notice every mistake, every flaw, every disappointment, every glance of disapproval, and we overlook what's going right. The great news is you can retrain your brain to notice the positive. And when you do, your whole world will begin to look different. I would offer you 2 tips. One, when you first wake up in the morning, list all of the amazing things that you are grateful for. And I'm talking about the smallest things. You are comfortable for the bedding that you have. You are comfortable for a fan that still works if you love the sound of white noise while you sleep. You are thankful that your cat is meowing at the door, ready to come in and give you a big lick on your nose. That's my cat Boots. I wake up every morning and I try to express gratitude before I even move out of my bed. The next practical tip that I would like to offer you goes hand in hand with just that. At the end of your day, write down 3 things that worked today. And don't overcomplicate it. Maybe you made a healthy meal. Maybe you drank the amount of water that you wanted to. Maybe you had a great laugh with your kids, or you caught up on the latest episode of your current favorite show. Those are little things that, again, are just reinforcing your mind to see all of the positive things that are going on in your life. And I always talk about this, and I will always talk about this. Gratitude raises your vibration. The more you acknowledge what's working, the more abundance you are inviting into your everyday life experience. You are writing the new story. You are telling your subconscious and the universe, yes, I would like more of this, please. And you are also becoming more clear on what it is that you want to call in. And what you want to call in is more experiences that leave you feeling grateful. It really is that simple. And I know that sometimes we're met with hesitancy or skepticism, but I am sharing with you from personal experience that I have used these practices and I have seen a positive shift in my life, including opportunities that I would have never expected to have come my way that have come my way. While your days are going on, I'd like you to keep these 2 questions in the back of your mind. What evidence did I see today that I'm moving in the right direction? And what's one small win that I can celebrate right now? There is always something to be thankful for in any present moment. And it's just a matter of redirecting our energy. Remember, our energy goes where our thoughts take us. The more you focus on the positive in your life, the more you are going to bring positive experiences, communications, friendships, relationships, business opportunities into your life. Like attracts like. Keep that in mind. It is a law of the universe. I can recall a day when I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I overslept. I did not want to get up. I slept poorly, and I did not have enough time to complete my usual morning ritual, which is to take a bath and to relax and maybe read or just think about things that I'm grateful for. And that would put me in like a bad mood. I would go into my closet that is literally stuffed with so much clothes, but I would say I have nothing to wear. And I would end up running late, but not late enough that I wouldn't stop for my morning latte. And then I would carry on to my commute in a cranky, grumpy mood, thankful that I still had like 50 minutes to go so I could get into a better mindset. And sometimes I would be like, oh, I'm just going to be in a bad mood all day because I'm just not feeling today. But what I learned is that if I began to shift my thoughts and to say, you know what, I don't have to have a bad day. I can start to find little things that are going to change my attitude around for the day. So I might purposely go into a colleague's room and share a laugh. I might go up to one of my favorite students and ask them how their last soccer game went and make those connections, have those laughs, play a little trick on someone just to get a giggle out of them. And that can immediately just shake up that negative energy that you might have conjured up in your morning that was going wrong, and it can really change your day. I refuse to have a bad day. You can just make that declaration, and then again, the energy will shift, and you can, in fact, have a good or at least a better day than you would have if you went down the, Eeyore, oh, woe is me path, right? The third tool that I want to inform you of is you can rewire through daily habit. This goes back to doing something for a certain amount of days. You see, your brain changes through repetition. Every thought that you repeat is carving a groove deeper and deeper into your mind. The question is, are you carving grooves of fear and self-doubt or grooves of confidence and possibility? I have an additional daily ritual to rewire your mind that could be helpful. It only takes 5 minutes, and I think you are worthy of giving yourself 5 minutes during the day. I would suggest that you, again, write down one thing that you are grateful for, one affirmation, and then set one intention. This can be done in the morning. This can be done on your lunch break. It can be done when you get home from work, before you go to bed, whenever you feel like the time is right for you. Less than 5 minutes. It's the consistency that matters. So I would suggest trying to find a common time to do it every single day. Like when I was changing my mindset in regards to something that I had learned about myself through an Akashic Records reading, I was given a script that I had to read for 21 days in order to release certain karmas. And what I did was I kept the script next to my bathtub because, as I mentioned, I would take a bath every single morning. I was commuting over an hour. I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and I was to read this script that had been prepared for me. I was supposed to read it 3 times with intention and feeling. So I would get into my bathtub, and guys, I have a very large bathtub. It can seat 3 people. I wish it had jacuzzi jets, but it doesn't. Yes, I'm obsessed with taking baths. You all should know that about me by now, if you haven't caught on. And the bottom line is, I would get into the bath and I would just pick up my paper and I would take some deep breaths, get my mind and my heart centered, and then I would begin reading out loud the script that I was supposed to be reading out loud in order to clear any of these karmic debts, connections that were no longer serving me from previous lifetimes, etc. You get the drift if you've ever had an Akashic Records reading. And it was just an easy way for me to remember to do it. I was automatically going to take a bath because it's just part of my morning ritual, just like brushing my teeth. And so for those 21 days, it became habit for me to pick up my paper, read it, and start my day off on the quote-unquote right foot of getting it accomplished, because instead I could have waited until the end of the night when, oh, I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it first thing in the morning. And then next thing you know, it's like 5 days later and I haven't touched the paper. This was a physical reminder right there in front of my face that I would go to automatically. And they say that 21 days is the amount of days that you need to create a habit or change the wiring in your brain. I don't know fully the science behind it, but that's just what I've heard. So investigate it on your own. But again, going back to that daily ritual that I am suggesting, becoming aware of something that you are grateful for, setting an affirmation, and setting an intention. All right. So, for example, what I just mentioned as far as the Akashic Records script that I was reading from, I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but the point was that I was trying to release myself of any karmic debt and unhealthy connections from previous lifetimes that were no longer serving me here in this lifetime. So I had an intention. I was grateful for the person that gave me the reading and gave me this tool to utilize. And I was setting the intention to lead a better life in this lifetime. I just want to remind you that habits aren't just about discipline, they're about embodiment. Every time you repeat a thought or an action, you're reinforcing it. You're embodying a new version of yourself, aligning more with your highest self. Some questions that I want you to think about are, what belief do I want to rewire into my brain this month? We just started a new season in astrology. It is Libra season. And with that, we also have 2 new moons this month, which is kind of rare, especially in the Libra season. So it's a great opportunity for you to set a goal. I also would ask that you identify a small ritual that would help you to embody your future self today. And what do I mean by your future self? I mean the person that you want to become or that you're leaning into becoming for your future. If, for example, you go to college and you have the desire to become a teacher, you're working towards your future self. One day, hypothetically and hopefully, you graduate and you get a job and you are a teacher. But 4 years prior, you were not a teacher. You were a different version of yourself. So again, you're working towards that new version of yourself. And that's why part of me will always love being a lifelong learner, because you are always growing and changing based off of your life experiences, the conversations that you have, the books that you read. You're always learning and growing, and that information is always useful. The next tool that I would like to offer you is going back to the beginning and the end of the day. The middle of the day is the meat of the sandwich, right? But you can start with the 2 slices of fresh bread, the beginning and the end. Start and end the day with positivity. Positivity sandwich. The first and last 20 minutes of your day are golden. Why? Because your subconscious is wide awake during these times. If you feed it stress, negativity, comparison, it will marinate in that energy all day and all night. That's not good. No bueno. But if you're consciously pouring in positivity, you're visualizing, you're saying your affirmations, you're expressing and feeling gratitude, you're reprogramming your brain to expect good things. And the universe has no choice but to match your energy. It is law. Coming back to it again, tying it together in the morning, before you grab your phone. Oof, that is the worst thing to do. Do not roll over and grab your phone. Sit, be present, pay attention to your breath. List off any and everything that you can think of to be grateful for. Be positive. Speak that one positive statement. I wonder how good my day can get. Today, I'm curious to see where my heart will lead me. What kind of surprise will find me today? And then be open to what the universe will give you. And try not to focus on an outcome. My day will be great if I win the lottery today. Okay? What the universe provides for you isn't our job. Our job is to place the order and then be open to what comes. And with that, I want to touch upon energy again. Energy is not negative or positive. Energy is neutral, but it's our thoughts behind the energy. It's our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions that drive where the energy flows and goes. This is why I'm encouraging you to be as positive as you can. And I'm not talking about the fake positive where like everything's great, everything's so amazing, oh my God, my life is wonderful, but it's the genuinity. I don't even know if that's a real word. I can't think right now. It is being genuine in expressing that gratitude. I recently came home from a trip, and before I left, there was this odd looking green plant growing in one of our planters on the back deck. And I was like, you know what? Like, that kind of looks like it's going to be something. It doesn't look like it's just going to be a weed. Like, I'm not going to pluck it. I'm going to let it be and see what it blossoms into. And when I came back, I looked out the back window and I was like, oh my gosh, there were 4 beautiful sunflowers staring back at me. So I went outside and began to look at them. And I felt a little bad at first because the leaves were getting a little bit brown while I was away. There was some bad weather and lots of sun and all of that. So the leaves didn't really look like they were in the best condition, but the flowers were beautiful. And there were bees in each of the flowers doing their thing. And I thought to myself, what a beautiful, amazing thing. And it was the simplest of things. I didn't overthink it. I didn't say, oh my gosh, did I plant that? Was that wildflower seeds that I planted 2 years ago? I didn't think about it. I just said, thank you. Thank you for showing me something so beautiful that I can continue to look out of my window, and it just puts a little smile on my face. There's actually another flower that just popped open today. And again, from that emotion, something greater and bigger can come from that because I've planted the seed of gratitude and expectation that bigger and more beautiful things can come into my life. I'm open to receiving them. So when you're constantly pouring in positivity, you're visualizing all of the great things, more or less all of the great feelings that comes with those things, those experiences, those conversations. You're affirming to yourself, I am worthy of accepting. I am worthy of having. I am capable of holding. You are reprogramming your brain to expect good things. Lastly, going back to our sandwich. At the end of the day, write down at least one win or one thing that you're grateful for before bed. And I like the art of writing because it is kinesthetic. You are moving your body. So it's more than just your thought. You can do all the things. You can think it, you can write it, you can speak it out loud, because the more that you do or say these things, the more energy, the more oomph you're giving to these expressions of thankfulness and gratitude, and the more energy that you are building. Tying in the spiritual layer, this is manifestation at work. You're planting the seeds in your subconscious at the most fertile times of the day. Those seeds grow into thoughts, feelings, and actions that shape your reality. Remember, you are working towards your highest version of yourself. I also want to provide you with 2 questions that tie into this tool. What's one thought I want to begin my mornings with? And what energy do I want to fall asleep with at night? You don't want to go to bed listing all the things that went wrong. No. You want to go to bed with a clear, beautiful, blank slate almost. You want to go to bed with joy in your heart, gratitude, and an expression of being thankful that you got to experience another day alive. And I don't mean to sound morbid, but not everybody gets to wake up to another day. Not everybody gets to go to sleep another day. And oftentimes we take that for granted. We forget that our days are numbered. And that's why I am learning also for myself to be much more appreciative of the small things, Because the small things make the moments. The small things are what lights us up. And the small things gathered together are the things that lead us to bigger things. So it's just a personal shift, and I want you to notice how you can utilize these tools in your own daily life. I suggest you stop scrolling at night, start journaling or meditating instead. It's just an easy switch. Put that phone away. They want us to stay numb and dumb, mindlessly scrolling through the night, but that's not where we're supposed to be. That's not what's going to lead you to your greatest and most authentic, delicious version of yourself. I want to give you a tool on how you can access calm quickly. Stress hijacks your brain. When you're overwhelmed, your body thinks you're in danger, fight or flight. But here's the magic. You can reset your nervous system in just a few minutes. Some practical tips that I will offer you, and some of them I may have already shared, are to try the 4-7-8 breath. I talked about this on the last episode, where you inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale with 8. And I would even encourage you to make a sound when you exhale. Another tip is to step outside and name 5 things you can see. I heard this one when I was experiencing bouts of anxiety. I was having some panic attacks during the workday, and I happened to go into the office and share, hey, like, I'm not having like a good moment right now. Is there anyone around? Blah, blah, blah. And someone happened to be in the office, another colleague, and he said, I have just the thing for you because I have experienced that myself. And he just said to go into a room and to just observe, list 5 things, list 20 things, list as many things that you can, because why? It distracts your brain from the overthinking, the doom situations that you have conjured up in your mind's eye. It's distracting to you. And then, sure enough, a few minutes later, you're like, oh, I can think clearly again. Another tip that I would offer you is to place your hand on your heart and repeat, I am safe, I am supported. I am safe, I am supported. I am safe, I am supported. And you can just keep saying that until you genuinely believe it. During a really bad heat wave, I was outside at a Sailfest festival. We were down by the water, and I didn't bring any water. I don't know what I was thinking. The real feel was like over 100 degrees. There was a lot of humidity in the air, and I'm just walking around in this giant crowd, and all of a sudden, and this is how panic attacks happen, all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I cannot breathe. Why didn't I bring water? I have to get the F out of here. And so I went to sit under a tree, and I was trying to calm myself down and be in the shade, and it wasn't working. So then I'm like, I have to get into air conditioning. My car was like blocks away, and my kids were like, we want to go on this bouncy house. And I was like, I told my husband, I said, listen, I said, I am going to walk myself to the car. I'm going to turn on the AC. I'm going to get myself calm. I'll meet you guys in a little bit. I started walking up this gigantic hill, and I actually had to go up to strangers, and I'm like, listen guys, like, I am, having a little bit of some issues right now. I said, do you mind if I just walk with you? Of course, they were so pleasant and so nice, and they said, absolutely, walk with us. And so I got up the hill. I used my inhaler, and I'm just trying to calm myself down, and it's just a rescue inhaler for when I was having these anxiety attacks and these panic attacks, and it just wasn't cutting it, like, because my head would not stop spinning with the racing thoughts of like doom and gloom, like I'm going to pass out, I'm going to overheat, etc., because that's just what happens during a panic attack. It was so bad that I hated even hearing the word panic attack, and I'm sorry if this is triggering for you, but during that time of my life, if I even heard the word panic attack, I swear it was like an instigator to start one. So I tried to be very careful about who I surrounded myself with and what kind of conversations I surrounded myself with. I had to create like a safe space for myself to get over those issues. And the good news is I was able to get over those issues. Thank you, God. And so, again, the whole point of me sharing this story is to share that once I was in the car and we were driving home, I literally just kept repeating to myself, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And I did that the entire drive home. It was probably like 17 minutes, the longest ride of my life. And eventually, I believed it. I believed I was safe because of the repetition of saying the same thought and feeling I am safe, I can breathe, and it just was able to get me out of that scary situation. So again, this is just a tip, it's just a tool, but it is something that I have personally used to help me get through a very anxious situation. The last practical tip that I would like to offer you here is to use a grounding visualization. And this is, again, one of my favorite ones. I also talked about this in my previous episode of just imagining roots coming out of your feet, anchoring you into the earth. It's just such a quick visualization that gets you out of your head and back into the grounding energy of earth, of our human experience, and it instantly calms you down. You might have to do it multiple times. Again, I like to personally just sit and just imagine roots growing down into the ground, or I stand up on my tippy toes and then I push my feet down into the ground. And as I'm pushing, I imagine those roots going deeper and deeper into the earth, and I am just cleared and deeply grounded. Another great thing, speaking of grounding, is again, just kick off those shoes and touch grass. I just told my son today, I'm like, you're going outside and you are touching grass, because sometimes you really just need to get out there and touch grass to get anchored back into the earth and its energies. To tie in a spiritual layer, I want to remind you that calm is not about relaxation. It's about being in alignment. When you calm your body, you open the channel to hear your intuition and divine guidance. When you are calm and your mind isn't racing and busy and preoccupied with the to-do list and all the things that you have to do and buy and grocery shop and etc., you can hear. You can be in a deeper and greater alignment, and you can listen to your intuition and the divine guidance that might be coming through for you. Just another quick story. Over the weekend, we were away and my son was driving his own car. He's only 17. He has a very fast car, which I regret him getting. I didn't know that the car went that fast when we went to look at it. And next thing you know, on the drive home in the new car, oh yeah, by the way, this car goes from 0 to 60 in X amount of seconds. And I'm like, oh, I was not aware of that, and I'm not happy about that. But it was too late, so I'm learning to live with that. And bottom line is, I want to protect my son, and I get all these crazy thoughts, and kids, sometimes they think they know everything. And so bottom line is, I was, praying a lot, and just in general, this was like his first big long trip. It was like 2.5 hours of driving solo, and he did it on the way up, but I wasn't sure how I felt about it driving home, even though, I watched him and I tracked him, like a quote unquote overprotective mother, as he calls me, but I'm just protective. And bottom line is, I was sitting there and I was calm and I was doing something, and I got the little ringing in my ears, and the message from my spirit team was, don't let him drive home alone. And I didn't have to hesitate on listening to that advice. And I knew that he was going to give me a hard time, but I had to step in and be the parent, and I was not going to take no for an answer. So he actually started the car, and tried to, he was getting himself ready and putting his music on and setting his GPS and all that. And I got in and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm driving with you," because we were going to a restaurant. And so he's like, "Fine, cool, whatever. It's a 20-minute drive. We're going to stop there with the fam before we got on the road for like the big drive home." And then at the restaurant, he was starting to pull away. And I went up to his car and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, like stop." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "I'm driving home with you." And he's like, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "No, I am." And I had to put like, the parent hat on in full force and say, "No, I really am driving home with you." And I explained to him what happened and just I was not taking no for an answer. And I checked in again with my spirit team and all that, more or less of like they said that he couldn't drive. Like it was like kind of like don't let him drive home by himself. But I was like not sure if he shouldn't be the driver or if he just shouldn't be alone in the car. So I kind of just kept checking in, like, is this okay? Like, should I offer to switch? Should I make him pull over and switch drivers, etc.? Thankfully, seriously, thank God, we got home safe, no issues, no problems, no close calls. But what I'm getting at is if I had been in an unrelaxed state or in a place of chaos, instead of allowing myself that moment of calm when spirit could get my attention, more or less, then I may not have gotten that message. And here goes my crazy brain, like what could have happened? Do you know what I mean? So it's a matter of, again, just giving yourself the opportunity to be calm because you never know what kind of messages will come through for you because your spirit team is always with you. Your spirit guides are always with you. Your current set of angels are always with you. Now, they cannot necessarily intervene. You have to ask for help, but there are extreme situations where they can, and or if you develop that relationship where you communicate to your team that, yes, I would like to know if I or my family member will maybe experience danger or a situation that may not necessarily be good. It's, again, just becoming that version of yourself that is open to the divine guidance and inspiration that the universe and or your spirit team can offer you. The two questions that I want to leave you with on this particular tool are, what simple practices help me return to calm the fastest? What works for you? Do what works for you, always, number one. And how can I remind myself to pause before reacting? That one takes time, that one takes practice, but you can do it. I'm currently personally working on my tone of voice when I respond to my family. Because in my mind flashes like what I want to say first, but then it comes out in a totally different tone sometimes than in my brain. And so it's important of like taking that pause before reacting. To wrap things up, we've covered 5 tools to retrain your brain and redirect your energy. 1, give your brain a project. 2, train it to see what's working. 3, rewire through daily habits. 4, start and end the day with that positivity sandwich. And 5, learn how to access calm quickly. Now here's my challenge to you. Don't try to do them all. Pick one. Experiment with it for 7 days. Notice how your energy shifts. Notice how your perspective opens. And most importantly, notice how much more empowered you feel when your brain is working with you, not against you. I want you to remember that your mind is not your enemy. It is your ally when you choose to lead it. You have the power to redirect your thoughts, to build new mental pathways, and to align your energy with the life you're here to create. Remember, transformation doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from small, consistent steps, showing up for yourself. Choose one and begin today. Why not? You have nothing to lose. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love having you here with me. Remember, you don't have to walk this journey alone. I'd love to invite you into my free Facebook community, Aligned and Abundant, the Soul Shine Collective. It's a safe, supportive space where we dive together into soul alignment, abundance, and living authentically together. You'll find inspiration, connection, and practical tools to help you shine even brighter. Just head to the link in the show notes to join us. I can't wait to welcome you inside. And if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs this message. Your support helps our community grow, and it truly means the world to me. Until next time, keep shining your light and living aligned and abundant.